In Nehemiah chapter 1 through 5, we pick up 13 years after the travels of Ezra to Jerusalem, and we see Nehemiah is there, the cupbearer for King Artaxerxes, praying for his people back in Jerusalem after he hears that things are not as they should be, that things are still lacking regarding the wall that was built. He gets permission to come with some of the other governors and takes a group of people there. Along the way, of course, there's still opposition. When they get in the land, there's specifically Ammonite, some different people from Samaria, Horonite, different ones that are mentioned as opposers and accusers of what they're doing. But throughout this, you see that the people remain strong, trusting in the Lord. Nehemiah is upright and doesn't impose injustices like other previous. Nehemiah chapter 6 and 7, you see the Chronicles, the acts of how they're actually building the wall now around Jerusalem, building it back stronger, deeper, more solid across all the cracks and the broken down areas. You did have specific accounts, though, of some of the same ones that had been opposing them earlier in the book, now raising conspiracies against Nehemiah, accusing him of wanting to set himself up as a king and trying to halt the project. This is unsuccessful, and Nehemiah goes on in chapter 7 to really get down to brass tacks on what God's doing, and wants a direct genealogy of all that had come with Zerubbabel, coming from Babylon back to Jerusalem. You see the many genealogy accounts that are pulled through here, and even some people that are mentioned that aren't numbered because they did not have actual tracing in the records. Nehemiah chapter 8, 9, and 10, you have really what's the high point of the entire book, as the book of the law is read by Ezra to all that are there. And you see later, after much repentance and much humbling of themselves, that the scribes and elders come back together to kind of look into it a little more closely. And you see a celebration of the Feast of Tabernacles, setting up the booths that had been commanded back in Moses' day. From there, you see a covenant that is made here in this modern day of Nehemiah and Ezra. And again, a list chronicling all those that were taking part of it, the details of the covenant, all those that would be within. So really, this seems like a high point going forward because of the sincerity of the people, the acts that they are taking, and looking to get things right with the Lord. Nehemiah chapters 11 through 13, concluding this book, you see many more specific records given of the population around Israel and Jerusalem, the priests, the dealings of how they are ordered and numbered. And chapter 13 is really incredible in the sense of the way it ends off. You see some of the exact same issues that Ezra was having in the conclusion of that book, which again hasn't been that long ago. Intermarrying, lots of foreign alliances, of course, which is part of what Israel's problem was initially. Woven in this is some of the oppression, the resistance that Nehemiah has faced all throughout. They are part of this inconvenience. That really is not so much an inconvenience as it is transgression, and Nehemiah might seem harsh in the way he handles this, but of course there was much focus on not wanting to repeat the same mistakes as they had in the past. This entire book ends off on a little bit of a cliffhanger in the sense of wanting to see some completion as you go forward. You can also reference Malachi to get kind of a bigger picture of the hope of the time period.